Your partner, your parent, your kid, your sibling, your friend, your neighbor, or a complete stranger says something you don't like, often something very silly, which in hindsight wouldn't matter at all. But of course, your feelings are hurt, and you must react immediately. That starts an argument. In one of the previous videos, we talked about bullet trains where we saw the fact that they run super fast, yet the ride is extremely smooth, and that's because they run on a magnetic field above the tracks without touching them. When the train touches the tracks, it will slow down and eventually comes to a complete stop. We also discussed how a bullet train is a direct metaphor for life, not just because we want our life to run smoothly and fast like a bullet train, but also how we should maintain an optimal distance from day-to-day events, just like how a bullet train maintains such distance from its tracks. We also talked about how we end up overreacting to circumstances and the fact the first reaction to situations in life is often an overreaction. Let's expand on that a bit in this video and dig into this through some examples. Let's go. Imagine you have completed your work your boss assigned you and you have done a terrific job at it. At least you thought you did great. You are now sitting in your boss's office reviewing it, and let's say she didn't like it and sent you back to the drawing board. Well, you thought you did great, but your work is just rejected. What would be your reaction? Of course, you will get disappointed. You will get frustrated, and you could even get into an argument with your boss. Only if you took a deep breath and tried to understand her point of view, you will realize that you may be looking at this work in the wrong way. Well, I'm not saying the bosses are always correct at all, but if they are, taking a moment to understand their point of view before responding will save major trouble for you. Even if they are wrong, there is no point in getting frustrated and responding right away, even worse, arguing. You should probably escalate it to a different channel, such as your boss's boss or HR, and that moment you took to analyze the situation would help you come up with a suitable action plan. Again, avoidance of immediate overreaction and maintaining that minor distance from the situation by taking a deep breath helps your life train run fast like a bullet train. Your partner, your parent, your kid, your sibling, your friend, your neighbor, or a complete stranger says something you don't like, often something very silly, which in hindsight wouldn't matter at all. But of course, your feelings are hurt, and you must react immediately. That starts an argument. It may turn into a fight, and who knows how it all ends. At a minimum, you end up wasting at least some of your precious time when you could spend it on something more valuable. Only if you maintain the distance from the comment thrown at you, either by ignoring it or walking away or taking a deep breath before reacting, your train would be running much faster. What will your reaction be when your boss calls and gives you additional work? You won't like it, but a minute later, you think about it and you will come to terms with it, spending the evening working because it is your job. What will your reaction be if your flight is cancelled and the airline moves you to a different flight? You may get irritated and annoyed, but eventually you will come to terms with it and you will find something to keep you occupied. But it's not just negative situations. Let's say someone gives you a nice compliment, especially one you never heard of. You may feel super happy. It's human nature, and cozy up with that person to eventually realize he is just trying to get something from you. You might get a notification that you won the lottery. You get excited and proceed with the instructions to claim it to realize it was a scam. These are common techniques social engineers use to scam people. And result, your life bullet train will slow down or even come to a complete halt. These overreactions could happen in completely positive situations as well. So the summary. We are like a bullet train, and the life is the track we operate on. We move at the perfect speed and smoothness if we maintain an optimal distance from the tracks. All the issues and everything life throws at us impact that optimal magnetic field that keeps us moving at that pace in our life. What we often do is we take the bait and indulge ourselves too much into the very weeds of what life throws at us. In other words, we bring the train closer to the tracks. The closer the train is to the tracks, the higher the friction is. The higher the friction is, the slower life becomes, even coming to a complete stop in cases. So remember, often our first reaction to any situation in life is an overreaction, and that is the beginning of getting sucked towards the tracks and slowing down your life that was moving nicely like a bullet train. But be aware, what happens if the train goes further from the tracks that it's supposed to? Meaning, what if you start detaching yourself too much from life events and situations? Then your life will go off the rails just like the bullet train. So it's important to find that right balance and not overindulge or over detach. Good luck.